Hey, what's up? Good afternoon. It feels like morning to me, man. Oh, I've been up before 8, just gosh. I love those long mornings. This is the way I've kind of lived my life because I was in retail and we were open late at night, every night, till midnight, lots of times, sometimes 24 hours. So my mornings were always my time, to think and reflect and drink coffee and, other things, read the Bible, pray. For a long time I played backgammon. I'm hooked on I used to be hooked on backgammon, hours and hours and hours. Backgammon tournaments and this, that, and other, and chess and on and on. But anyway, I love my mornings and had big plans today, and I've gotten quite a bit of stuff done. But it's time to get some of this stuff planted and time's right, and that's what I had planned. But then all of a sudden we get these rain showers coming through, and I just ain't in the mood. I don't need to do it bad enough to get out there in the rain. But I do love to sit out here. The weather's almost perfect, man. I mean, the temperature is like probably 72 or something, 22.2. So it's nice, I'm comfortable. Charlie's laying over here licking something. He's always licking something. But I think this morning, the highlight of my mind, of course, the first thing, man, I had to wake up and say, thank you so much, Father. Boy, it's so great to wake up in the morning and not have to organize the chaos that I'm going to be facing that day, which, was a way of life for me for so long. And man, just to be able to wake up and say, man, thank you so much. And things just flood into my mind, the things that I'm thankful for. So one of them that comes to mind every day, and honestly is a huge inspiration still to me in my life, is this cat right here, Pastor Mack. This guy right here. Last time I saw him was right in there. But, I've had a lot of friends in my life, and I'm sure you have too. I'm not telling you a story that's unique to me. I completely realize that. But my journey's been a little different, and sometimes my path might have been a little kinkier or darker or something, than you went through. But anyway, I was... I had been broken, really broken, and there almost was not a single facet in my life that had not become not just a disappointment, but a heartbreak, and nobody did what they said they were going to do. Nobody said what they were really thinking or what they were really feeling, and with each one of these disappointments, it fractured me, in terms of my vision, the way that I looked at things, the way that I looked at life, the way that I looked at the world. I had always been a powerful motivator of people, and when I say that, I was only powerful because I had good materials. I absorbed everything from many motivators, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale. I can go on and on and on, and when you absorb things like that, and your thinking has been transformed already, and you're doing well, it's pretty easy to motivate people if you're a storyteller, and I have learned, through experience, that selling is essentially transference of a feeling, and I've never done anything that I didn't have strong feelings for, so I've been able to transfer that feeling adequately to survive. But anyway, I was sitting in the first time I met this guy right here, Pastor Mack. I was sitting in the, I don't know what you call it. It used to be a Honda showroom, probably 6-car showroom, something like that. Now it's a dealership, tire, service automotive place that I opened and started in on Lee Avenue in Sanford. But I'd done it during a very difficult time. I'd done it right when Harold and Deborah Nunn, and the root of it was because I started calling Harold's attention to criminal activity that he was doing there in the dealership, and I was not going to be a part of it. And he came after me, and I've told you a lot of the story before, but at the first hearing that these criminals called me and my family into, my daughter was there, and she had breast cancer, and they had Tanya Daniels to cancel her health insurance, knowing the situation. And you can imagine how angry I was. And the whole thing was, everything that they were saying and everything they were doing was a lie. And the people I had depended on, I mean, I knew Ford Motor Company would stand by their agreement. I mean, it was a dealer agreement, and I was the only one on it, and I was the dealer of record, and so that had crumbled, and the friends that I had made within Ford, really high-level friends, they were fake. They followed the money, it's always their convictions were not real. Look at them. They're going to struggle, too. They'll probably bust their hiney soon, They've jumped on a dead horse, and they don't even know it, and they still ranting and raving about it. But anyway, I was broken. I was really, and all these things and a million more were piled on top of me. And, it's pretty, I hate to say I was broken. I was maintaining my profile outside, but I had, when that happened, I had went and bought this building, and everybody thought I was crazy, and I probably was. I'm an optimist, or I was. And I didn't have no money, but I, thank God I got it worked out. And I won't even go through the whole thing, but I had taken a guy in. Basically it didn't cost him anything, nothing, zero, zilch, nada. I needed him. I needed somebody. I was sick. My back had 4 ruptured discs. It was tough, and I couldn't put it in my name because I had ran and filed bankruptcy trying to get away from these criminals up in Apex, and man, they entered the bankruptcy court after me. It was just terrible. And then they had this crook up in Greensboro, Rasabi, just a little poor excuse of a man, really, has 000 integrity. But his partner was appointed as the judge of the federal bankruptcy court during this time, and I can tell you now that it put me at a terrible disadvantage, and so I was in that kind of condition. And then the lawyer, Jeff, I won't even say his whole name right now, I'm gonna say it soon, took money from me. I didn't know his money was coming out of the bankruptcy court. I paid him $10,000-15,000 in cash, him telling me that he had to have this, that, and the other. And then before it all ended, he quit. So, it was just one of those times, man, that everything that could go wrong did go wrong, But this was going right. This business was coming along, But anyway, it was during those days. I had actually, there's 16 offices down there. My ex said Charlie couldn't stay at the house, so I said I got 16 offices down there and bathrooms and everything else. It ain't no problem. So, and I was gonna try my best to take what I could see them manipulating. They had seen the diamond that I saw when they thought I was crazy, and suddenly something happened, and they were overcome with it. And so I'm there trying to fight this. I could see it coming, and I could see everything else, though. They didn't know the memory that I have. And as Dwight brought that stuff in, and when he stole that sign and stole a few other things and was accused. Yeah, I remember every bit of it now, you know, as I think about it. But you know, it was a time really of brokenness for me, and about the only person that I talked to with any frequency was a little guy that was a technician in the back, Hispanic guy, and preacher, you know, and real, you know, I believe. But once I left there, he disappeared like everybody else. So was he real? Who knows? But anyway, it was during that time that I met Pastor Mack. So you can imagine, you know, the attitude that I had. And, you know, Pastor Mack wasn't too much like me, you know. When he came in with a bang, you know, every time. And I'll never forget, he was dressed to the tens. He looked perfect. Everything was good. And he had that Vietnam veteran's cap on. And he stood with us. He was, you know, short guy, but he stood with a stance of a man 10 foot tall. You know, and I could tell there's something different about this guy. And he was a sergeant, retired sergeant major. And he was still a sergeant major. And, you know, at first, you know, I mean, it was nice to meet him. I enjoyed talking to him, you know, this and that and the other. But, okay, now, you know, let's go. I mean, pretty much. And, but we had some conversations, and I was edgy, man. I was edgy. My language was looser than it is now. Much looser, to be honest with you. And I've never been a fake about it much. I try to be respectful, but, you know, anyway, I couldn't much shake him no matter what I said, you know. But we had some deep conversations and this, that, and the other, too. But to be honest, he kept coming, you know. And he would show up, be honest with you, when I didn't want company. I didn't want to talk to you. Hey, Charlie, it's starting to rain too hard. Come on, I don't want you to get all muddy. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Hurry up. It's coming. Come on. Get up under here. You can sniff around up here. We got plenty of stuff to sniff at. If you don't, you can sniff at your end like you usually do. But anyway, good boy, thank you. That was the smartest thing you could have done right then. Because it's going to cut loose, I think, in there. But anyway, he kept coming, and you know, the thing about it was, almost every time he came, he would show up unexpected, but it would usually be around lunchtime. And he knew that I loved this fried fish that he got done at this little place, fish market thing in Fayetteville. And you know, Pastor would go down there and order it and have them to wrap it in double tinfoil just as soon as they took it off the daggone whatever, out of the basket or however they cook it. And he would have already stopped and got me, for some reason he'd always get me an Arizona iced tea. I never did tell him I didn't like it, but you know what, he'd get it for me. I mean, because I just I didn't drink it even then. But I had to drink it. You know, he gave it to me. It's okay, it was good, you know. But once he took that curse off by giving me food and I'm sitting there eating it, you know, he was going to open me up, you know, and he did over and over, and he didn't mind confrontation at all. He's a lot like I am, you know. You're not going to make me mad, or you're not going to rattle me, because, you know, you just can't. That's just the way it is. There's no need in me being rattled if you are. You can be rattled for both of us. But anyway, he kept on, and he kept on. And then, you know, I started to really like him, you know. And there was just something in some stories. Dude, he could tell a story. He could tell me some Vietnam stories. And his illustration and the way that he told it was so graphic that I see it now still, you know. The image that my mind's eye makes, you know, and the detail. And he was just the real deal, man. And he had it going on, you know. He had every kind of gadget, man. You go in every room and he had that big old FaceTime monitor. So he could talk to you walking from one room to the other room. It was just amazing, you know. But it was his toys, you know. He was like me, come up poor, and he didn't have nothing. I think he had 16 children in his family, man. And oh my goodness, I love his mama. She's here now. She's like, I think they said 99 years old or something, but she's old. But boy, she's still so full of love. And man, she raised some children that just love God and have been a tremendous, uh, just a tremendous impact on lives. And I was sitting, when I think about somebody, like I was thinking about Pastor this morning. I miss him so bad, I don't just think about Pastor. It just opens up, everything related to him, So the memories was very brilliant to me. And, the different conversations, the kind of last conversation that we had right here, it comes alive again. And I can enjoy them again in my mind's eye. And I'm so grateful for that. But anyway, I was in a mess, man. I didn't have anybody to turn to. She had me taken out of that building, not just said, look, you got to go. No. She had me, like, removed and tricked me and set me up. I mean, it was a bad thing, And the whole situation, was purposely instigated by Grant Page, And I knew he was a thug. I just didn't know he was that depraved, that low. To hurt somebody that deeply that had helped him so much, it's sad, but hide and watch, But anyway, Pastor kept coming. He kept coming. And when all that happened, when all that stuff came down, man, I didn't have nobody to turn to. I didn't have a friend. They said they were. I had one guy. Dude, I had gone to Georgia. He had a truck and he was trying to piece it together cheap. He was too smart to fix it the way he ought to. And he did it his way, and it blew up on the way out back. He's living in Florida now. And it blew up down in around Savannah, somewhere down in there. And dude, I went down there with a friend of mine with his truck and his a friend at that time, flatbed, and brought this dang guy's truck all the way back to North Carolina, back to the shop. And he even came, and a couple times he was up here, he came and spent the night, slept up there in the waiting room on the sofa. And this was a guy, dude, that during his time, he was a real high flyer at one time, jets and all that stuff, and Ferraris and, all the stupid stuff that poor people buy when they suddenly stumble into money. But during that time when his deal was crashing and burning, he'd called me at times, needing money, like 20,000 cash, or 10,000 cash or something, and I did it for him. And during that time, I needed to get out of that place, and I called him because I had been with him, and he said, well, look, do you need anything? You need any money? And I was too proud, and I said, no, I don't need any money. And then I hung up, and thought, damn, how stupid was I? And I said, you know what? I've given him money lots of times. So, yeah. And I called him back. I said, hey, man, listen, you asked me a while ago if I needed your money. And I said no, but I was lying to you. Yes, I do. And I don't need a lot. But, a few $100 would really help me a lot. He said, no problem. He said, I'll send it to you. I never heard from him again. Not any way, shape, form, or fashion. That's the kind of disappointments, one right after the other, and I can go through so many of them. I've been going through one the past week. That I can put the guy in jail. I mean, I got the evidence, got everything, but my heart won't let me do it yet. But it was that kind of heartbreak time after time. But Pastor kept coming. He didn't give up. And when all that come down, a friend of mine, Dennis, he was the only one, man, that really even reached out any kind of way. And he called me and he said, look, man, this is Dennis. He said, I don't know what's up. He said, I've heard all kind of stuff. He said, it doesn't matter. He said, I want you to know something. I don't have much. I live by myself out here on this little farm. And he said, I don't have much. He said, but I have an extra bedroom here. It's just me and my dog. And he said, you're welcome to bring Charlie and come and stay here for as long as you want to, up to forever. Wow. Now this guy was my friend, but you know, he was in a different. He's Jehovah's Witness, and probably one of the nicest, you know. And he did what he was supposed to do, you know, no doubt. And just those areas that misguided, you know. But anyway, he even came out there. Pastor even came out there, came to pick me up. But it was just a few miles right over here out of Spring Lake. I think it might have actually been Spring Lake. But anyway, so I stayed there. And I stayed there for a while, and it was good. It was a good breaking point for me, a good landing spot, I guess, because I was stunned, you know, with the events that had happened, you know, over the last 3 or 4 years, but specifically with this blow. This one was completely unexpected blow that could have been fatal. Probably was fatal to the old Tom Smith. Yeah, it's probably what the whole deal. And thank God for that. Yeah, thank God it is the goodness of God that leads us to repentance. But anyway, during that time, this little boy right here, he didn't give up a bit. He come out there to Dennis's to pick me up. Whatever you know I needed, he did. But we'd always talk about God, and he'd ride me around Fayetteville and show me the different areas and show me the homeless communities and show me the level of pain there. And he was so frustrated because, you know, he couldn't get anybody to really catch his vision. You know, everybody wanted a little position of authority or something. And I talked to him a lot. I know every key player in that church, you know, and what pastor's feelings were, because we were friends on that level. And I wish I could tell him right now. He was exactly right. He was exactly right. It's happening, you know. But anyway, man, I honor that guy. I honor him, Leslie Matthews. I honor him, and I will forever consider you probably the best friend that I ever had. And let me swallow so I won't cry, dude. But yeah, I hung in there too. David came down, and Margot, boy, she worked, and we doing it, Pastor. We doing it. We and it's just breaking ground. We're just starting to see the ministry of love flow into the homeless community, and not just into the homeless community, but into the broken and poor community, you know. And I stand in awe when I think of this little guy, you know, and the courage that he had, the things that he accomplished, and I'm so proud to have considered him my best friend. And you know, I kind of considered Dennis my best friend, and I sort of like I had two best friends. And then one afternoon there, I was at my brother's for a few days, and Dennis, his kids his wife had allowed the kids to come back, you know, to visit him. That was great because he hadn't seen them in months, and he loved his children. He was so broken-hearted. While they were there, Sunday afternoon, they were playing. Dennis and I were going to get together. The next morning, we were going to open another shop. And he was out there doing some work, and a piece of equipment of his own broke. Forklift broke. Fork come off, hit him right there, and he bled out in a few minutes. And his children, 5 and 7, I think it was, something like that, found him. And terrible, tragic loss. It was another loss for me, another loss, God. And I've taken a lot of stuff out there, and it's gone. Generator and a truck and several things like that. But anyway, Pastor hung in there with me. He didn't let go. He was still my friend, and he talked with me through it, and encouraged me, and all that. And then 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years, I should say. He knew that I was compassionate and had a real heart for the real broken people, and he said, "Why don't you just come down? Why don't you just move down here? Come down here and help me." And well, I wasn't ready to help nobody. I needed help almost, but what the heck? I had nowhere else to go. I didn't really know anybody down, but you know what? I did it. Came down. I told him, I said, "You're gonna have to help me find a place, find a house," and he did. A friend of his, to a friend of his, and we came down here and signed. It was a dump too. Oh my God! But it had a lot of potential, and we signed that night. And I stayed with him that weekend, man. We went to church, and we got COVID. But a lot of people in that church got COVID. And some of them probably had 9 masks on. I don't know. But anyway, I had it before, and it wasn't really all that bad to me. It's kind of like a little bit like the flu or something. But Pastor Mack went to the hospital, and he stayed, and of course you can't see him. I talked to him a couple times, but once they intubated him, he was pretty much out of here, and he went on. And it was another crushing year. Man, my 2 best friends, were gone, and my business was gone, and my family, they were gone completely, wouldn't even return my text. One of them wanted to kill me. So, I'm just painting you a little picture, of the preciousness, how precious this man's friendship became to me, and how pivotal it was in my turnaround, and honestly, in my transformation. And I can't wait to see him, man. I'm gonna see him. It won't be that long, and I can't wait to see him. And I'm ashamed, really, to tell him some of the things. I probably won't even remember them, but it's a shame, that Pastor Margot's hanging in there, but she's pretty much been shoved aside, and who knows? It's beyond me. It's sad, but you know what? God knows, and you can bet He'll handle it. Absolutely. But Pastor Mack, and that's what I always call him. Everybody, other people call him different things, but Pastor Mack, man, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And eye hasn't seen, ear hasn't heard, neither has it even entered into our hearts. What He has prepared for us, and you're already experiencing the next side, man. And good for you. Enjoy. God bless you. I love you. Boy, I got so much to tell. Had 3 different encounters yesterday with people. No doubt in my mind that were supposed to happen, and each one from a completely different walk of life. Even ethnicity was different, and everything was different about them. But the problem was exactly the same, and it had to do with the frustration, and that's a mild word, with trying to do all the right things. But the people you love most, the people that are, in your religion, this, that, and the other, but not being able to satisfy them, that's where the root of it is. And then, you don't feel loved, you don't feel accepted and all that. So, it's a battlefield, but it's real and it's out here. But hey, thank you, Pastor Mack, man, for being my inspiration. God bless you, and God rest you, as I know that He is. You ain't resting much, I know you. All right, guys, y'all have a great Saturday. Love you. Take care.